Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today we didn't get that bloody Sunday, right? Bitcoin and altcoins are holding strong, and I think retail investors are getting smarter, not being as fearful, and that's a fantastic thing. That's a fantastic thing. So let's talk about what has happened so far since last night to this morning, what has changed, and what we should continue to do. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, guys, welcome. Lively crowd once again. People want to know what's going on. What happened to that bloody Sunday, that doomsday drop? Well, it seems like it didn't happen. A lot of people tried to anticipate, tried to sell off beforehand. Well, it didn't happen. Well, let's change my screen here. Let's take a look. So Bitcoin is around 35,600. Yesterday it went down a little bit, as low as 33,000, right? People were getting antsy, fearful. You know, I came out the video last night. Real talk, okay? Real talk from George. I normally don't do that much real talk, but I did. And I gave you my strategy. I told you why I follow it, you know, the mistakes I've made, and how the market is unpredictable, right? It tends to do what it wants to do sometimes, and no matter how much you try to time it, many times it's going to be wrong. But many times, you know, the market comes up unexpectedly too. A lot of times it seems like it reverses very quickly. So many times anticipation of a dip actually costs people more than a dip itself. And today that's what it looks like. Now I will say that it's still very early, right? It's still very early this Sunday. Maybe things do turn around later on today. And maybe this bloody Sunday gets pushed to bloody Monday, okay? I'm not going to say that it can't happen. It could happen. But you know what? The strategy for me doesn't change. I'm holding, okay? And I'm going to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. It doesn't mean that everyone has to. Doesn't mean that you have to. But the bottom line is the strategy that I've been following, which is to dollar cost average or buy the dips and hodl, they work. They work, especially during bull markets, which I think we still are in a bull market. I don't think we're in a bear market. Maybe if you go by some definition, some other kind of definition that like what Benjamin follows, where if you break below the 21 EMA and the weekly, and somehow if you follow that, then when you're in bearish market, right? But for me, I look at the bull market and bear market. I look at it from a four-year cycle perspective. That Bitcoin has one fantastic year after the halving event. That is the bull market. And afterwards, if the blow off top comes and Bitcoin comes down from it, then yeah, we're in a bear market. And we could be in bear market or crypto winter for 2-3 years. So that's how I look at it. I look at our 4-year cycle right now, and I look at our 2021 cycle this year, and I don't think anything has changed. I think everything is still on track, even versus previous bull runs. I look at it and I'm like, has anything fundamentally changed? Am I really being too naive or delusional? Did something really change? And I'm looking at it and nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is FUD is stronger now. There's more FUD. And that's really it. Everything else in terms of Bitcoin having the halving event, being having the inflation rate being half, that still exists. Are we still in the fourth year of the cycle? Yes. Looking at things like the logarithmic growth curve chart, which is measuring Bitcoin on a grander scale. Have we done anything out of the unusual? Are we out of this? No. We're still within the boundaries. And even when we break out of the boundary, doesn't mean, like what we did in 2020, doesn't mean that anything has really changed. Just because it's the first doesn't mean it's bad, but that hasn't changed. You look at stock to flow. Well, is this like really off? Like, did it just crash down here or something else? No, it's still on track, right? So there's nothing that really indicates to me that this bull run, this bull market is over. And that is why I'm still very, very bullish. That is why I'm taking advantage and learning from my mistakes of being like, fudded out and not holding and not just dollar cost averaging. Trust me, I have made many mistakes over the years that would have made me millions and millions and millions more had I not fallen for some of those, the FUD, right? So that's why I'm staying true. I'm staying with my current path. I'm not letting the FUD get to me, although it's hard. There's just so much out there. There's so much media FUD. There's so much other channels. There's so much just commenters, people that are very, very negative. And sometimes it just gets into you, right? It gets in your psyche, and you can't stop thinking about it. There's always this lingering thing. Are we going to see another doomsday drop, or is the top near? Well, just look at the greatest investors out there, right? They always say, do what the contrarian view, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And when everyone else is fearful, that's when you buy. That's really it. Yesterday's video was about capitulation. I think that will be around the corner. And that may have happened already. Maybe, maybe not. Right? But when everyone is panicking and everyone is selling, that's when you know that we're near capitulation. And what I love is today that we held strong. Bitcoin held strong. Altcoins held strong. So there are retail investors that just said no more. I'm not going to be falling for it. I'm not going to be falling for this FUD. If Bloody Sunday comes, let it come. But in the meantime, I'm going to be taking advantage of the bargains that are out there, which is why today you actually see a really good rally of Cardano up 16%, right? Even XRP up 7%, and you go down the list, Polygon is up 11%, Chainlink is up 7%, VeChain is up 9%. So you're having retail investors that's saying no more. I'm going to continue the ways of what I've been doing, and that is buying up good projects. I'm holding, and that's it. I'm waiting for life-changing wealth. I'm actually investing. I'm not trying to trade. I'm trying to invest. All right? I'm trying to build that life-changing wealth. And that is the right way to do it. It has worked for me, and I still believe that will work for many, many, many people that's watching this right now. I believe that will work for many of you guys out there too. So I'm really glad today that retail investors, or at least a lot of retail investors, are just basically, ignoring the FUD. Ignoring the FUD in continuing ways. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's really, really, really fantastic, because we need more of this. I think people underestimate the power of retail investors. I think if anything, you could look at what has transpired with AMC and GME. It does show you that no matter what, no matter if some of the biggest hedge funds are against you, the number of retail investors greatly outweigh them. The number of money that retail investors have is tremendous. And retail investors can make a difference. And altcoins, we know, are driven 100% by retail investors. Whether altcoins pump or dumps is purely driven on retail investors. The institutional investors, the manipulators, they do it with Bitcoin. But the altcoins are 100% with retail investors. And if retail investors stand together and no longer falls for the FUD and say, you know what, I believe Ethereum and Cardano and Binance Coin and VeChain and Chainlink, they're going to change the world, and I'm investing in them long term. I'm going to continue buying despite the FUD. That's how we collectively raise everything higher. That's really it. It's really that simple, right? So we got to do a better job at just, staying together collectively and educating and just making sure that, none of us really makes any mistakes, right? Or tries to eliminate mistakes. That's really it. Now, there's a couple pieces of news. They're not that important, but I feel like I need to cover some news rather than just me keep blabbling on. But I've been talking about how the banks, they want to get in, like Goldman and JP Morgan. So I saw this headline about Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo. And they're unveiling, or they unveiled their policies, cryptocurrency policies. And they're all kind of neutral. They're not bearish, they're not bashing it, but they're neutral. For example, Bank of America, currently we do not lend against cryptocurrencies. We do not, and do not bank companies whose primary business is cryptocurrencies or facilitation of cryptocurrency trading and investment. So that's, I think, the harshest. So they don't want to deal with cryptocurrencies. Now, Citigroup says before we engage with cryptocurrencies, we see it as our responsibility to ensure we have clear governance and controls in place. And Wells Fargo's, we will continue to closely and actively follow developments around cryptocurrencies, which have emerged as alternative investment products, though their status as a currency and mechanism of payment remains fluid. So what this tells me is, you know what? We're not going to say we're bullish or offering any services until we accumulate more. That's what it's telling me. The fact that JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs have been more proactive or bullish on things like their funds and so forth, right? It's because I believe they feel like they accumulate enough behind the scenes so that they can actually do this. But of course, I think they want to accumulate more. And what this tells me is these three large banks have not accumulated enough. And I have no doubt later this year, you can bank on it, that these three banks will turn bullish on Bitcoin and custodian services and trading and even offering funds to their wealth clients. You could bank that that is going to happen. And when that happens, that's when you know these three banks probably felt like they have accumulated enough Bitcoin. That's when they're going to turn. So that is why, this is another reason why I'm not falling for some of the media FUD. They could cause a lot of media FUD. They could pay off whoever to write anything they want. They could do interviews and say anything they want, okay? But what's really happening is that these banks are accumulating. They're accumulating as much as they can, and they're accumulating while things are cheap. They don't want to be accumulating at 64,000 when they can accumulate at 35,000. Okay, so you gotta pay attention to what these guys are doing. They'll say one thing, but really doing another. So be careful, right? This is one of the things I've been telling you guys. Why manipulation exists? Why do these big boys do want to bring things down? People don't quite understand because they want to buy cheap. They want to buy cheap, and when they buy, they're doing it behind the scenes with OTC market. They're not buying at spot exchanges. So when they're buying their billions, it doesn't get reflected in the price because a lot of people always ask me, hey, if they're buying, why is the price not going up? They're doing so on purpose not to drive prices up. They want the prices to stay low while they accumulate. Think about it. If they buy and it starts skyrocketing, that defeats the purpose of their media-driven FUD. So pay attention to what's going behind the scenes too. Lastly, Ripple. This may be the reason why Ripple is going up today, is because they do plan on having an IPO right after this SEC lawsuit. I mean, it seems like they're very confident that this will end well for them. So it could be around the corner. And after that, they could be going IPO. So maybe if they did that, then they no longer need to sell XRP. So maybe that could be a bullish thing. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of speculation. But if they could raise money just through their stocks, then they no longer really need to sell XRP as their business model, right? Or maybe they still do. I don't know. Lastly is this. I've showed you guys this before. This is the stable coins that exist in all the exchanges, spot exchanges. This is the reserve. And you could see that, retail investors are coming back in. You could see that even though stable coins have, risen up quite a bit, it has started coming down, even though the price of Bitcoin has not, right? But it has started coming down, which shows that retail investors are getting sick of the FUD, getting sick of being told by so many others, you can't be buying, it's going to go lower, right? There's retail investors that's like, you know what? I'm here for a long haul. I'm here to invest. I'm going to buy things when they're cheap. And that is what this is showing. This is why, and I do expect this to continue to go lower. As prices recover, as the market recovers, this will dip more. And you'll see altcoins come back up, right back up. I don't think this is the end for altcoins. Even though Bitcoin dominance has come up a bit, and even if Bitcoin dominance continues to go up later this year, as Bitcoin continues to rally, I don't think the altcoins are going to go away. DeFi is here to stay. DeFi is here to stay, and DeFi is a very, very, very important aspect of the entire market. Very, very important. And I do think it's going to carry a lot of projects very far. And NFTs not going to go away. Look at every single celebrity and big company that's getting involved. The high prices may go away, but NFTs are not going to go away. It's a new digital IP system if you think about it, right? So there's so much coming to the world of decentralization, blockchain, crypto, however you define it. There's so much more coming. You don't want to miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is really just like getting into internet companies right before they became the big giants of today, right? That's how I see it. That's how I see it. All right, guys, that's it. Let's do some Q&A. I apologize. There's a lot of, a lot of super chats has disappeared. I apologize. Usually when when I'm in a groove, I don't want to stop and look. So I do apologize for those of you guys that gave me a super chat. They all disappeared from my chat, so I can't see them. All right. Yeah, here's the thing. There's a lot of hate towards BitBoy right now. I can see in my chat. You know what? Ben decided to do what's best for him, right? He's trying to preserve his wealth and prepare for a doomsday drop, which still may happen. It didn't happen today. It doesn't mean it won't happen tomorrow, right? He did what is best for him. And he's taking a lot of criticism and hate towards it, right? But, here the bottom line is everyone has to be responsible for themselves. Everyone has to really, make their own decisions and decide what's best. I think he's trying to be transparent. And, maybe some of the media FUD has gotten to him, right? I think there's a lot of people that came from 2017, even though they've lived through a lot of up and downs. But, this notion of, well, what if I missed the top again? What if the top came and I didn't know about it? I need to, preserve my wealth, right? That's a real thing. That's a real thing. But right now, I don't think it's a time to be bashing anyone, right? Just like what I just said, retail investors, everyone in the space needs to come together and just collectively educate and help people through this. There's a lot of retail investors that has just come in within the last few months, or even the last month, or even the last few weeks, right? We need to help people get through this and realize that this is the future and build together, right? So I don't think this is the time to be throwing hate towards each other. You guys know I don't like the fact that, I kind of called out Carl yesterday because no matter what doomsday scenario he projects, his number one thing is still getting people to trade with his Bybit links. The reason why I don't like Bybit, it's not I have anything against the company. I'm against leverage trading. I don't like it because there's too many noobs and even seasoned traders that gets wrecked from it. They get wrecked totally. I get emails all the time. It has happened to me when I talk to Rand on Crypto Banter. It has happened to him. Like literally anyone that's been in this space for a while have tried leverage. They thought they could outsmart the market until they get wrecked and lose out on their almost 100% of their gains. I have been sent audio clips of people that have lost millions, that have lost their entire crypto portfolio due to leverage. It's a real thing. So that's why I don't like it. I don't like it, right? And there are some channels like like Carl's, the moon, you know, that will tell you like this is exactly what's going to happen. So you should use my Bybit link and trade with leverage. I just don't like that. I don't. But, you know, with that said, I don't think we should be attacking each other. I think we should all stand together, you know, help educate everyone. And that's how we're going to get through it, and how we're all going to make more money is by ignoring the FUD, ignoring the media FUD, you know, getting over the scares, and collectively continue to buy and hold and wait for what life-changing wealth. Burgermeister asks, I got here late. Would it be safe to buy ETH below 2,000? Well, if you look at it from perspective, it was at 4,200, and now it's less than half of that. That's a bargain to me, right? That screams a bargain. Doesn't mean that you go all in. If you want to buy, you know, buy in increments, so that in case it does go even lower, you could buy some more, right? Don't run out of cash. I think right now having cash is important. Buy in increments. I missed some chats here. Someone asked, CryptosRUs, how can you be sure it'll be a 4-year cycle? Why not a 3 to 6? History doesn't have to repeat. It doesn't have to repeat, but it tends to rhyme. It tends to rhyme. And I guess, you know, I've been saying, besides just the 4-year cycle, also fundamentally that anything changed. The reason why the big boys want to get in is fears of inflation. So the fears of inflation go away. Are we not going to have inflation or hyperinflation? Well, from everything that we're seeing, it seems like there is. That scare is not going to go away, right? So that's one of the fundamental drivers. And this narrative of Bitcoin replacing gold, I mean, that's starting to happen. Do we see anything that says otherwise? Do we see institutions actually selling off their Bitcoin to buy gold again? No, we don't see that. And retail investors that's in this space, obviously, have driven things up to a whole new level, right? The GME, AMC movement is still ongoing. A lot of them have moved into crypto, right? And a lot of them have really strong hands. Same thing with Tesla guys. They have strong hands, right? So, I mean, you look at all this, I just don't think anything fundamentally changed, which is why this 4-year cycle, I think, is still valid. And in fact, I do think it could be longer. I think it could be extended past 2021. From that perspective, I could see, yeah, it could be extended out. Doesn't mean it has to end on December 31st of 2021. Chase, appreciate it. Olsness, I'm new in crypto. Your stream is part of my daily routine now. What motivates you to stream? Well, I'm not gonna lie. I do make a substantial amount of money from this channel and from my streams, but you know, it's almost like it goes both ways. It goes both ways. There are times I feel down too. I'm not gonna lie, and sometimes you can see it in my streams. So it goes both ways. That sometimes I get motivated just by seeing people that are also motivated, that are watching me. It's a humbling thing. Right? When you get an audience and you get an audience that really, really, really loves you, basically, and really gets what you're about, and you know, stays the course and all that. I mean, it's a very positive thing. So it kind of goes both ways. Chill Vance says no mercy to FUD. Yes. Don't fall for FUD. Someone asks, what do you think about SHIB? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Jeremy says, George, S&P 500 broke out an uptrend channel for the first time since 2008. If traditional markets crash like in 2008, will crypto market crash as hard? I think it depends. If the entire market crashed as hard as it did in March of 2020, crypto will crash. I have no doubt, because at that time, like, everyone panic sells everything. Everything will crash. The thing is, you have to look at the recovery. Crypto recovered really, really fast. From March to May of 2020, it did a V-shaped recovery, and since then it has not looked back and kept going, right? So it could be something like that, where if the traditional market crash, Bitcoin and crypto crashes, but then it comes up right away. So I do think the recovery will be just as fast because of all the reasons I said. I don't think the fundamentals have changed. But if the fundamentals change and the world is coming to an end, at least the financial system is, then we'll have to evaluate. But I still think Bitcoin is a better store of value than gold. I may be naive in thinking that. I know gold has been around for thousands of years, but you know, Bitcoin seems to have all the pros and none of the negatives, besides the fact that you can't make jewelry out of it. So, so there's that. Have I looked into Constellation before? I have. It's an older chain, has a lot of big companies that's involved. I think the Air Force is involved, you know, but they're one that has been around for a while. I have not looked into them specifically. What do you think about Sunday Swap? I believe that's going to be the big AMM on Cardano once Goguen is done. So it could be good. It could be the next, you know, pancake swap, right? But we got to wait for Goguen to be done. Paulani, thank you for that. If I move into USDC or USDC, this is tech views, and leave it, is it considered selling and taxable event? Yes. If you trade for, let's say, alts into USDC or USDT, that is counted as a taxable event. It doesn't matter if you sell into USD. Even making a trade between crypto is a taxable event. Even if you trade Bitcoin for Ethereum, that's a taxable event. Jeremy, I appreciate that. You know, I try not to. There's a lot of people that flaunt their wealth because, first of all, this is the first time they attain wealth, and second of all, I think they think it adds credibility, right? And I think to some extent it does. But there's many people that's very turned off to that, and I think it's distasteful. So I don't feel like I need to do that. Cam Puri, how do you balance taking profits yet holding? So number one is you take out your initial investment. That's always number one. If you take that out, you literally cannot be hurt, right? Because you can't lose beyond what you put in. So number one for profit taking is always just take out your initial investment when you can. So when something doubles, take out your original investment. Then you're playing with house money. And with that, as it's going up, you know, set a schedule for yourself. Every 100% or every 50%, take out 10%, 20%. Just take some along the way as it's going up, right? And I think that's going to be more critical or crucial as we approach the end of the year, because no one knows when top is in, if this 4-year cycle is really going to come to an end, right? So you want to start taking more, I think, towards the end of this year. That way, if things do turn around, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. There's really no set schedule, but I think the very first thing, the most important thing is to take out your initial investment. So even if whatever you're riding goes to zero, you can't be hurt from it. But there's other fundamental things too. You don't want to invest more than what you can afford to lose. I think a lot of people don't follow that. They use their credit cards, or they use leverage, or they borrow against their collateral. I think those are wrong ways to do it. If you have to do that, that means you can't really be in crypto. You shouldn't be in crypto. Lyndon, I can see that. I can see that. But Jed, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Any tips for people to stop or minimizing feeling FOMO? I feel this a lot as a crypto newbie. You mean FUD? FOMO is I think a good thing. Sometimes when things are low and you want to FOMO into something, fear of missing out, I think that could be a good thing. I think you're thinking about FUD, like fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I mean, really, you just have to focus on the bigger picture. You have to focus on why you're getting involved, right? And also focus on long term, not short term. Because short term, there will be volatility. There will be up and downs. There will always be up and downs, right? And as long as you're not invested more than we can afford to lose, and you can hold it for the next year, 2, 3, 5 years, then you're doing it right. Chai, you know, that's created. I hear Chai is like eating up everyone's hard drive space. because the way to stake is with hard drive space. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really a problem, but it's a promising new blockchain from the guy who invented BitTorrent, right? That's his next thing. I'm wondering if some of these projects will be around later when they pump. I'm thinking about getting rid of them for top 10. I mean, some of them could stay. Some of them could die off. But, you know, remember, it's hard to kill crypto. You look at Bitcoin has been around for like 12 years, right? Litecoin has been around for like 11 or 10 years. Even Dogecoin has been around for like 8, 9 years, right? Sometimes they go stagnant, but it's really hard to kill them off. So a lot of these crypto, if they have enough people that believe in it and hold them, you know, they will always survive. Maybe they won't be the top dog, but a lot of them will keep going. Dan, I like Mana. I think NFTs just got a little too saturated, too hot, but I think they'll come around, and the leaders will continue to do well. I think Decentraland is one of them. Jeremy has another question about small coins. I read SECs go after people that promoted BitConnect. I heard that too. Since I have shilled rug pulls on BSC without me knowing they're rug pulls, I hope I am safe. Well, unless you made millions off of them and the company, you know, really done rug pull. So I think it depends on the extent of the rug pull. BitConnect was in the billions, right? So unless it was really, really that bad, you know, I think you're okay. But I mean, if you're really that afraid, then you should seek a lawyer's advice. Justin says, my wife became George yesterday. You have a new fan. She's not a fan of me, as I've recommended selling half her Bitcoin for Bloody Sunday that never came. That's always tough. That's always tough. Giving family members, especially your spouse, crypto advice, and it doesn't pan out, you know, sometimes it doesn't work well. AJ, appreciate that. Appreciate it. Thoughts on Sidecoin, decentralized storage? I think they're pretty good. They're working also on decentralized internet, which could also be very interesting. But I still like Arweave the best. Doug, appreciate it. Randy, cynical whales are up to the shenanigan games again. Yeah, you gotta get past it. That's it. Just don't fall for it. Do you think ETH will flip BTC over the next few years? If they can continue to be the powerhouse they are now, and they can scale and they get dApps like DeFi that's used by millions upon millions of users, then they have a good shot. But until then, I don't think so. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they even flip this year. Travis from New Orleans. I appreciate that. Thank you. Have I looked into Alchemist? No, have not yet. All right, guys. I won't let you guys go. You know, today I'll call it a win, right? We should all call it a win. We did not get that Bloody Sunday. But like I said, be careful. You know, it's still early. It could still happen. It could happen tomorrow. So we're not in full rally mode yet. If we break above 42,000 or 43,000 and head higher, I would say in full rally mode. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. However, I do think that retail investors like you and I, or many others, are standing up against the fund and saying, you know, no more. There's just too much out there. I don't care if it happens or anymore. You know, what I'm going to do is stay the course. I'm investing for long haul. So I'm going to continue to buy the dips or just simply hodl. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do that. And today, I think we're seeing some of that, which is why some of the altcoins are coming up pretty good. And there's a lot more room to grow. There's a lot more recovery to get back to previous highs. But I believe we will do it. I don't believe this bull run is over. My definition of a bear market is very different than some others. I don't believe we're in a bear market. I believe we are going through what we need to go through. And that's simply it, right? All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I am going to go on Digital Asset News in a couple hours at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Dan. So in case you guys are curious, I'm going to go on his stream in a few hours. All right? Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.